Hello, everybody. Here live from the Sahara Resort in downtown Las Vegas. This is referee Dan Barnard. I'm here with two contenders. We have weighing in at 165 from Las Vegas, Nevada, Stephen McCain, former Olympian, in the red corner. In the blue corner, we have Dr. Rick Jacoby weighing in at 155. And gentlemen, I want you to know the rules here. There's no hitting below the belt. If you guys get tied up, I'm going to break it up and then count to three. Is that clear?
Clear.
That clear, sir?
It's clear.
All right, let's go. The great debate here in Las Vegas. Stephen, you want to kick it off? Or?
No, I can kick it off.
I'll
throw the first punch.
I'm going to get out of here and let you guys get it.
I think there's a big problem out there in America, and the problem is, what do we eat? We're told to eat fruits and vegetables. I don't think that's the right thing to do. We're carnivores. I want to hear your opinion.
Well, I agree with you that the great debate is that there is a big issue with what we eat. As far as the fruits and vegetables, all of this stuff is relative. So it's, who are you speaking to? If we want to isolate a human being in a cylinder and you should say, what should they eat? That's not the way we live. But if somebody is going to be very active, like someone like me who works out 5 days a week, there is probably a need at some level or I can get away with a minimal amount of fruit as opposed to some other deleterious sugary item that I won't eat anyways. So I prefer it to come in its more natural source. So
okay, they're all natural source, and I understand that. But
all right, you start swinging, Rick.
Yeah,
swinging.
But here's my
Rick, you're the author of Sugar Crush. Let them have it.
Well, left. It's not there. So the problem is, I think we've been taught that scenario you just talked about. We are carnivores by our breeding. That's how we became human. We're not apes now. We're human beings. They eat meat, red meat. I see patients every day. They come in, they're 300 pounds, and I say, how's your diet? They always lean in. I don't know why they do this. Lean left and right, and they say, I don't eat red meat. Well, that's why you're 300 pounds. You're eating sugar and not knowing. So let me hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I've coached athletes, right, and I've had athletes that have gone from eating meat, vegetables, and they just go to a vegan diet. They see some documentary and they say, oh, me and my family, we decided that's it, we're done with meat. And I said, well, you're not going to recover, you're going to lose muscle, and you're going to gain weight. Because you're basically just going to give yourself carbs. You're not going to have amino acids to build muscle or maintain it. And sure enough, a couple of months later, they blow up and they suffer and they end up...
we just went into a clinch. He's agreeing with me. Okay.
But however, having said that, I don't think that it's an all or nothing thing. If you look at our guts, we are designed to eat. We have the characteristics of an omnivore and a carnivore. Or we are a omnivore, right?
We agree on that. Another clinch.
Yeah. So I don't think it's an all or nothing thing. I think that vegetables that are... Look, I know there's anti-nutrients in vegetables, but in terms of a carb, I think they are the best carb you can get. I mean, are you suggesting that we get all our carbs from gluconeogenesis? Converting?
I think so, yes. And what for the audience out there, only the front row seats are going to hear this, not the guys up there in the peanut gallery. No, we are designed to generate glucose from protein and fat, gluconeogenesis, generating glucose from some other material. And we only can use 4 grams of glucose at any one time. Other than, if it's above that, insulin spikes, fat is stored, and that's why we get fat. Now, I agree with you. We're in the urban environment. We have to have a modified kind of diet that brings carbs in, brings some vegetables in. Fundamentally, I'm arguing that we're carnivores to begin with, modified with that. and we need the good fats. Now, the literature is starting to push the vegan diet. Stanford University just came out with that you need to be a vegan. Well, that's supported by the fake meat lobby. Yeah. And also in Harvard just came out in the Journal of Nutrition that eating meat, 2 helpings of meat a week, will cause a 40% increase in diabetes. That's preposterous. And that was Dr. Willett. Now, I think he's one of the referees over here. He's on the tape. What do you think?
Well, this is news to me, but I 100% agree that there is a lot of propaganda around food. I believe food is the next thing to really be politicized. I don't have any proof for that, but you can kind of feel it coming, right? You see farmland being bought up by certain people. You see agendas for fake meat. I think that stuff scares the hell out of me. I mean, I'm all for eating meat, but I'm all for tailoring your meals for you.
And how are we going to do that? We're here in Las Vegas for the MedTech convention, and one of the great new platforms is the MedWatch. MedWatch will tell you when and if you eat something that's good for you or bad for you in real time. Not a hemoglobin A1C that you measure the average of the last 3 months. Eat that apple, good for me, epigenetically maybe, for you maybe not, and vice versa. So I think we can agree on that. Yeah. We need measurement. We need real-time measurement. This convention that we're at today is a phenomenal convention to do that. I think we need to shake hands. That was a great debate.
Yeah. Throws the cheap shot
You're 2 amazing competitor, guys. Good job. Yeah. So that's round 1.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, it's really
so that was
scary what's happening.
It's the whole message. That's what you got across. We need measurement.
Yeah. Because like I've eaten stuff that on the surface, there's no way this would do anything to my blood sugar if you looked at it from a pure academic, and it's like I have a nutrition certification on it, and then I ate it, and when I was wearing a blood glucose monitor, put me over 160, and I'm like, well, I know I don't eat that anymore. That puts me in a pre-diabetic state, so get rid of that. But that could be anything. It could be anything. It has nothing to do necessarily with the glycemic index. The glycemic index is hey, if you got nothing, lean on this thing, right? So I think precision medicine, precision nutrition.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because we're all epigenetically different. We're going to react to the same foods differently, and with the new technology, we'll know what's good for us. We don't have to have a food pyramid built by Big Pharma as USDA, and it's 6 to 11 helpings of grain every day. You can't do that if you want to be under 300 pounds. Well, maybe that's a diet for the NFL, not for the average person.
Yeah, I mean, government food is not what I will not be subscribing to. I am not in that camp at all, and I just think that. Are we still filming?
Yes.
Oh, we are. Okay, good. We're still filming.
Well, he was on the rope too. He's on the ropes. Okay.
Break it up. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
All right. This is a good idea. I realize we're still chatting. So I mean, look, there's so many ways you can look at this. Like I've had a few conversations about the blue zones, and like that documentary that just came out, and it's interesting because it's like, why do these certain populations in the world seem to and we're trying to figure out why are they living longer than everyone else? And for me, like intuitively, this is just my theory. Granted, yes, they move, they do some things, like you have to take more things into account than just the food. But if you are a population, we adapt, right? We adapt to our environment. If I lived in the same place that my ancestors lived, and their ancestors lived, and their ancestors lived, and we all ate a diet that we all were acclimated to for generations in this environment, right? Then I am going to eat probably the most personalized diet for me.
Good
but
point.
if you take a Jamaican from Jamaica and you put him in, let's say, the UK in London, he's probably going to be vitamin D deficient, right? We're not even getting into the food part of it yet, right? Because he's been living near the equator, he's dark skinned, you're putting him in, you know, a place like London where it's raining all the time, there's no sun. So when we are like commingling with different races and living in different parts of the world and moving like we are divorcing ourselves from what our ancestry has been adapted to. What nutrition 3.0 or precision nutrition will do, like this MedTech device.
Rick, what say you?
I say I agree with him, and I think round 6 is a draw. So,
Are we already at round
Okay.
6?
yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So athletes are supposed to carb up. I've always heard that. So they're going to carb up. So they're going to eat massive amount, 10,000 calories or whatever. Obviously, as an athlete, yeah, you're going to burn that, right? But
Is
you
that
would
Howard
say,
Cosell over there?
yes.
Okay.
So you would say that eating carbs is sugar bad. But yet, where is an athlete going to get his power
Excellent
from?
question. That came out of the 70s,
There you go.
and I happen to be there.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. That's
So the
John.
question is,
Yeah,
is
I was,
carbing
I was
up,
old in the 70s.
is carbing up
we
okay
debate this.
for-
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a
So-
good debate. Here we go.
So
is
that was
carbing
Jim,
up okay for an athlete?
Jim Six was his name. SIX. Always thought that was a cool name. He was a runner, long distance runner, died of cardiovascular disease. Exercise does not make you cardioprotective, and that's what they were saying back then. They did carbohydrate load. The load up with lots of carbohydrates, thinking that was the way to get energy. It is not. Human beings, in my opinion, are carnivores, and they sprint. That's what they do. I had a patient, Ricky Henderson, #1 base stealer ever. Met him in the gym. My kid was at age 6, had a Phillies cap on. And he was in the gym and he asked me how to use the quadricep exercise machine. And I went over there and I looked at his leg and he had a erectus femoris muscle, size of a mouse, running up and down his calf. It was huge. I said, "You never lifted weights?" "Never." I said, "What do you do?" He said, "I sprint." Then he pulled my kid over, took his cap and wrote, Ricky Henderson. He was ripped, and he's still ripped. I just looked him up the other day. So human beings sprint. They sprint to get food, or if they don't sprint fast enough, they are food. And that's why sprinting for upper body strength, cytokines, growth factors do that. And we need meat. That's what we're raised on. But obviously, as an urban carnivore, we can't be, I guess we could be, but it would be very boring. So I'm writing my new book, is how to be that urban carnivore. Getting through, here we are in Vegas, a lot of temptation here. The buffet, you start grazing on that buffet with fruits and vegetables, and they're all, the ones you like are filled with sugar. They're maybe okay for you and for the society, but it's a real problem.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it a little different. I see where you're coming from. To me, there is a time when you are going to absorb into the cells sugar more efficiently than other times. Right after training, your body is going to absorb sugar. So it's not going to have the same hit as if I was a sedentary person, right? Not to mention when I move, I bypass insulin. I open up GLUT transporters just by moving. Just by doing this, I'm allowing glucose to...
That's a foul. Where's the referee?
I'm not allowed.
Okay.
But the point is that, like, when you look at a candy bar or you look at a head of broccoli, when they get broken down to what the single most thing they are, they're both end up as glucose, right? Well, you might have different versions, a little bit of glucose and fructose, right? But essentially, you're getting glucose, right? One's going to take a lot longer, one's going to be faster. But at the same time, after I work out, I've changed the speed at which I need rocket fuel, sugar, right?
Well, that's true.
So it's all about titrating the right combination speed of food with the state of your absorption of sugar. So post-exercise, I'm faster. I need something fast. Get in there, replenish those cells, get those cells to be able to have the energy and get the glycogen, to be restored, so that I'm not living in a state of depletion. Now, I have taken my body, I've tested every single diet, and tested my blood, tested my blood sugar. I have been full-blown keto. I have been and avoided all sugar, and I was ripped, but I felt like garbage. I was miserable. As soon as I added carbs, I was like, oh my God, I feel normal, right? And I didn't blow up. I didn't become pre-diabetic. I didn't become insulin resistant. I think it's a matter of titrating glucose to exactly what you need. And that gets us back to what we're talking about. Having some precision, something that can tell you.
And that's MedWatch.
Yeah.
And that's MedWatch. What we're eating at that point in time to answer that question that you just raised. So let's tell the audience up there in the $400 seats.
Yay!
Yeah, let's wave to them. There's two kinds of sugar, basically. There are a lot of different sugars. Basically, glucose and fructose. Fructose does not raise your insulin. And that's the trick. That's why you eat fruit, to put fat on it. To eat fruit is to gain weight. How does that do that? Well, it's very sweet, and you're going to eat a lot of it. But it's linked with glucose, which does raise your insulin and stores the fat. It's only present maybe 6 weeks a year. When you come out of the cave and you're depleted of fat stores, you need fat. Just like a bear coming out of a cave, hibernation, first thing they eat is berries and fruit to do one thing, to put fat on. That's the purpose. There is no other purpose. Oh, I know there's vitamin C, but that's a myth. Now, when I was a kid, that's a long time ago. And vitamin C, we ate grapefruits. Grapefruit was so tart, you couldn't eat it. You had to put sugar on it to eat it. So it's a myth. Sugar, glucose, fructose, they compete with vitamin C. And with insulin, they tell vitamin C to take a hike. The sugar goes in the cell. That's how it works physiologically. So your points are well taken. We're not telling the vegans out there or the herbivores, and we're not telling them. I think women, though, for the most part, can be more on the herbivore side of things, because they were not, I know this sexist here, they were not the hunter-gatherers. I assume males were the hunters and they were the gatherers, and there's a difference. They were in the cave, raising their 6 kids. They were scurrying around looking for roots and vegetables. We were looking for meat. We had to have that B12. We have to have those specific B vitamins.
Hopefully we brought it back to them too, right?
Well,
hopefully they got to eat.
Well, they could have been eaten, so she had to survive because she couldn't do meat. So I think there's a phylogenetic problem here. They're more herbivores. We're more carnivores. But you're right. The amount of energy expended, you do need carbs. If you're sedentary and you're eating fruits and vegetables, you're going to balloon up. Yeah. So I think that's, what are we in, 10th round? Is this a 12-round fight?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, it really depends. Who are you talking to, and what do they do? Are you active? Are you not active? And the fructose glucose thing is very interesting. I mean, that's the way Coca-Cola. It used to be glucose, right? They used to be the cane sugar. Then they switched it to the high fructose corn syrup, and they were like, look, it's not spiking people's blood sugar, but they was giving them, because the fructose has to be metabolized in the liver, right? So they were getting fatty liver disease. They were actually getting diabetes of the liver. And, so a lot of people don't really understand that difference from the fruit, the fructose, the fruit glucose, So I think more than anything, it's about data and education, because it's like trying to change somebody's...
Data.
Data. Trying to change someone's diet. There's a saying. It's like trying to change their religion.
Well, I think it is religious. It's a conviction to a point of view, but we need data. MedWatch. That's just one of the companies that does that. There's another company here that's called Blink. Glasses that have cameras that look in your eye to see if you're developing diseases directly to the food you're eating.
Blinkframes.com.
Blink frames. Yeah. So
gentlemen, we got to end this fight. It's been a tremendous. You have given the audience what they've paid money for, thousands of dollars per. Thank you so much, Stephen. How do we get a hold of you?
My website is Stephen with a PH, McCain, MCCAIN.com. You can find me on Instagram, SMcCain. Those will work. You can always, if you like and you really wanted a question about this, you can email me at support@Stephen with a PH, McCain.com.
Awesome. Rick, how do people get a hold of you?
Well, I think you read my book and get the rest of the story.
Sugar Crush.
The new book coming out next month, January 24, is called Unglued. And I give you a course how to get unglued, get off of sugar, and reverse the effects of sugar, which is basically glucose. That's why it's called Unglued.
And that'll be what? What's the website for that new
That'll
program?
be Dr. Jacoby Academy.
Dr. Jacoby.academy.
That's
Correct.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been fantastic. We can't wait for the next awesome.
Tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
We'll
Absolutely.
be hitting it again.
Yes.
Do we get ice bags for this?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, my eyes.
And a little lab
Let's go have some ice cream. Just kidding.
Okay, that was super.